Welcome to episode 55 of the Unstoppable Podcast with Heather DeSantis. My name is Dan J. Gregory, and I am committed to hunting down the secrets of business mastery and human performance. My goal for the Unstoppable Podcast is to share insights from some of the most successful entrepreneurs, inspiring thought leaders, world-class athletes, and prominent celebrities to help you to become unstoppable in business and life. Each week I'll be bringing you a new interview with an inspiring person and sharing my own results as I pursue the answers to the question, how can I create the ultimate edge in my business, make a significant impact, and live an extraordinary life? Hello and welcome to episode 55 of the Unstoppable Podcast. It feels like I'm marching towards episode 100 already. Things are moving fast. I'm delighted to announce that the Unstoppable Podcast now has over 20,000 listeners, and the show is listened to in over 80 different countries. I'm simply blown away and honored to have such a great group of listeners tuning in every single week. Now, I recently put together a special document, a PDF document, which contains my top 50 lessons from the first 50 episodes of the Unstoppable Podcast. And you can download the lessons by visiting www.danjgregory.com/50 lessons. Go and check it out. Now, I've also been exploring different ways to grow the show. And one of those ways I've considered is PR and media. And as fortune would have it, I connected with Heather DeSantis, who is a publicist and a brand evangelist for heart-centered entrepreneurs who have a story that they simply must share with the world. And I met Heather through one of my recent podcast guests, and you're going to find out who that is as you listen to the show, so I'm not going to spoil the fun. But having previously worked as a publicist within a major advertiser where Heather represented NFL football players, national food brands, and businesses of all shapes and sizes, from startups to multi-billion-dollar companies, Heather left her high-paying role behind just over 12 months ago because her soul was being drained by working in that corporate environment, and she was tired of building a business to support someone else's dream despite enjoying the work she was doing. So at the time, she'd begun to build her own passion project on the side, and in June of 2015, she came back from holiday and she was given an ultimatum that she could either work for the company or go and become an entrepreneur. Heather made the decision to walk away from her high-paid job and went on to form her own public relations firm, where she now works with multiple 6- and 7-figure earners who have a story to share with the world to really help them to get media coverage so they can share their greatness with the world. And to be completely honest with you, Heather's own PR is so strong that I had absolutely no idea that she was a relatively new startup business due to her strong portfolio of high-level clients and, of course, a rocking press pack. So in short, Heather has really come on leaps and bounds since starting her business. She's already doubled her income, and in today's episode, Heather speaks candidly about how she got her business started, and she shares some of the major challenges that she's faced along the way. And of course, the bulk of this episode, we're going to take a deep dive into the world of PR, the glamorous world of TV, radio, and major press. I'm excited to share this episode because it's a world that I'm personally keen to explore. It's time your boy DG was featured on TV, radio, and all the other great podcasts out there, so watch this space. In this episode, you're going to learn how to boost your credibility and make a bigger splash in the world with PR and media. We talk directly about how you can begin to reach out to major publications and mainstream media, and Heather discusses how you can leverage local media to build your media portfolio. If you want to learn how to use media coverage to get your voice heard in a sea of noise, then this episode is for you. Today you'll discover how you can step into the spotlight and get seen as the expert that you are. You just need someone to help you along the way, and fortunately, Heather is on hand to show you the way. Are you ready to play big? Before we jump in, I want to apologize for the slightly reduced audio quality of this episode. Unfortunately, there's some major works in my area which has severely wounded the internet connection, so the audio quality has suffered a little as a result. But we've done our best to bring you quality sound, and it certainly does not take away from the quality of this episode. So without further ado, let's jump into the show, introducing Heather DeSantis. All right, Heather, welcome to the Unstoppable podcast. I'm so pleased to have you here on the show. Really excited for a great episode. As we were saying offline, I have no idea about the world of PR. This is going to be a really roller coaster journey for me, and I'm really looking forward to learning all about the specialist subject of PR. But for the listeners, would you mind just sharing a little bit about yourself, how you got started in business and what you do right now?
Yeah, so I am a publicist, and I work with multiple six-figure, seven-figure earners who are really purpose-driven, who have a message to share with the world. For the most part, you've built a very successful business online, and you're ready to take the next step. You want to build an image. You want to be a public figure, and you feel it in your heart that if you don't go big, that you're going to die. You feel like you have a huge purpose to share with the world, whether it's about being an entrepreneur, whether it's about your obstacles, whether it's about you created an amazing product that really helps people. You have a mission to be an entrepreneur and do things differently.
Awesome. So how did you get into the world of PR? Where did this all begin?
So it began, I first, over 4 years ago, I started out interning at an advertising agency. And it was different in that I had graduated college. I worked at an investment company for 6 months. And to work at this advertising agency, I had to take an internship.
Wow.
And at first thought, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm stepping back. I have to take an internship. Normally you would think internships are for non-college graduates, people just starting out. But I took an internship, and from that point was with the company for over 3 years and learned everything I knew about how to pitch the media, how to develop authentic relationships, how to become very results driven, securing 35 interviews a week for all of our clients, to pitching new business. So I'm lucky in that I worked for a smaller company where I had to be very nimble and wear multiple hats at all times.
Yes. So why PR full stop? What made you go for the internship? What was it inspired you about the career path as a whole?
So it's crazy. I left my job a year ago. It was June 2015. And I left because in my heart of hearts, I was an entrepreneur. My dad and uncle were very successful in the real estate world. I have really big goals. Honestly, if I could do anything, I would just spend all my time volunteering and traveling.
Yes.
And I didn't like how I had to ask for time off. That stressed me out because I was trying to manage relationships and be a good daughter and all these things. So I left a year ago and I quit. And I was at that time, I was involved in network marketing, and I am forever grateful for network marketing because I learned so much about personal development and business and mentorship and just all these positive things that you need to have when you are an entrepreneur. And I think I first got the concept of creating a business that was portable through network marketing. And then I started to see all these amazing young entrepreneurs building successful businesses, traveling, and just living a life of intention. So I left last June, and then I got a job at a local gym. I'm still working there. I've been working there full time, but starting in September, I will not be working there as much. So thankful and excited. But I had no intention when I quit my job to do PR at all. But I was involved in a Facebook group, and the great thing about Facebook groups is the connection and the ideas that people had. And I was extremely stressed in that my income at the gym was significantly smaller than my salary. I just didn't feel adequate. I felt stuck. I'm like, oh my gosh, I know my worth. I'm not making my worth. So I started a little bit doing a little freelance of PR in December. And then in March of this year is really when I got my first dream client. And I wanted to do her PR, and really it's someone that you aspire to be. If you look ahead and you see the people you're aspiring to be, the people who are very successful, who give back, who put family first, all these things, she was that person.
Cool.
So I reached out to her and got her as my first client in March. And it was my first $1,000 a month client.
Awesome.
So I was so grateful for that. But from that, because of the results I got my clients, I would have people message me all the time. So just having raving fans, celebrating the success of your clients from a place of love, really built me to where I am now, that if everything goes according, like this month I'll bring in 10 to 11,000.
Nice.
So it's just been something that comes naturally. And mind you, like, network marketing is great, but it's not, I don't feel like it's in my heart, my time right now. But before this, I started an LLC like 3 years ago where I would go to thrift stores and buy clothing and upcycle them and sell them.
Amazing.
And I sold them in stores, but I sucked at it. I spent so much money on the business that when I found a business that like sets my heart on fire and comes naturally, and I can really like close clients, I'm like, okay, I need to be doing this.
Yes.
You know, I feel like you already have inside you what you need to bring in money and build a business. You just have to figure out what comes more naturally.
Awesome.
And then go from there.
Awesome. So I got lots of questions. So I've had quite a few people on the show actually who have their beginnings in network marketing. I'm one of those included, myself and my partner. We've both been involved in network marketing, but it's a really interesting business model in the sense that I think it really suits two types of people. I think it's the entrepreneur, someone who has not yet had an experience as an entrepreneur, yet they're looking for that lifestyle business. They want to step out corporate, and it's a brilliant resource for that. And I also think then for successful entrepreneurs, it's also a great way to give back to other entrepreneurs. Like teaching the principles, because you learn so much about, managing fears, managing rejection, building a business, building a team, leading people, leadership. So I think it's a great income source for people who are already successful in their business. But I think who it's not for is when someone has a unique passion or a unique expertise or a real driving force inside them to build their own business, which is built upon their own, their own skill set or their own products. Then I think network marketing can get in the way of those core dreams. I think what it sounds like for yourself is you found that passion, you found that dream, and now you're going all in with the PR world and making waves with what you're doing. So I admire that. But I agree, it gives you such a good entrepreneurial grounding. And I'd recommend the industry to anyone looking to get started.
Absolutely.
Now, the next question I have is, with your first client then, talk to me about how you actually went about sourcing that client, and how did you, because, to get your dream client right off the bat is rare. So what was the approach that you took, and how did you actually end up working together?
So to be honest, even attracting new clients, or, for example, so thankful, but I was on the phone with the producer of the Steve Harvey show yesterday. So like your dream media or clients, I think I always have a sense of certainty. Like I just know in my heart and gut, I just know that is already going to be a yes at the end.
Yes.
We were connected for a while on Facebook. She was an expert of a couple of groups that I was involved in. And I simply reached out to her asking for 15 minutes of her time to learn about her business and share with her how I think I could help her. And we got on the phone. We had an amazing call. I remember I wrote the proposal on vacation, and I think the next day she already paid me.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to work with someone who they're so in control of their money and their mindset that, paying bills and, isn't a struggle for them, because that was something that I'm still working through is, having a lack mentality and so forth.
I think that's a whole different conversation we can have on that, because that's a major challenge. Again, all entrepreneurs I've had on this show have all had to deal with at some point during their journey and go from that lack to abundance mentality. And it's a real transition. So what I love about that story is that, I've worked with a number of people who wanted to start working with high-end clients, and they've had to perhaps work for free to get their testimonial and then leverage that testimonial. What's great about that is that you're able to monetize that client, and I guess, and you've been able to use that story over and over again to bring in additional clients at the same level.
No, I absolutely agree. I will say though, I always give more. I always give more to my clients than they pay. And like, there have been times where TV producers need a certain expert. Well, I don't work with a client of that caliber, but I will find them that expert just to take care of that relationship. I mean, I have a lot of clients that I'm serving that they're not paying me.
Right.
But I mean, they're providing value, and, you know, they're helping me with my website, and they have so much value, and their partnership and their endorsement and believing in me is way more than, you know, giving me money.
That's awesome. And, you know, it's such a good way. You know, a lot of entrepreneurs who listen to this show, you know, might be just getting started. I think value exchange is a really good way in the beginning to get the things you need for your business, whether it's web design, branding, things like PR, you know, social media management, advertising expertise. You know, as long as you value your services and you can trade up appropriately with the types of individuals you're working with, I think it's a fair trade when you're getting started. So that's awesome to hear as well. So what have been some of the biggest challenges that you faced since beginning on your own?
So I've had so many struggles. I'm an overachiever. I mean, when I'm from an environment where I would secure 35 segments a week, so that's like getting 35 people to say yes for a client.
Yeah.
I never know what's enough media for my client. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm so focused on like wanting all my clients to be on like oblivion, so happy, that I don't think I struggle with knowing what's enough. Mm. Other struggles would be organization. I mean, I'm organized and like I have my like life plan hour by hour, minute by minute, but I don't know, like I'm not organized too. I mean, I'm such a creative person. I'm not a detail oriented person. Yes. So this is my first week where I was able to get 2 different women to help me with some of my organizational things. Awesome. One taking over my Facebook posts, one helping with get my Facebook group going. Another girl, like updating like spreadsheets for me and like syncing like my iPhone with my calendar and things of that nature. Because although I have the purest intentions, I have a lot on my plate. Yes. And when you're securing interviews, there's a lot of moving pieces. There's getting the media to say yes. There's getting our client to get on board. There's the talk notes. There's the details for the segment. There's the pre-promotion. So when you're trying to juggle all these different things, unfortunately, sometimes I drop the ball just because my systems aren't where they need to be.
There's so many moving parts. Yeah.
So that's been struggles of clients not paying, and I learned to kind of emotionally get over that. Mm-hmm. You know, it is what it is, and I still value my partnership with them. And once again, their partnership and endorsement and love and support of me, I value much more than the cost for working together for a month.
Awesome. And what have been some of the proudest moments so far on the journey?
Seeing your clients on TV, nice. having Dan Henry, who's one of my clients, launch his amazing Facebook ads course, and him being able to bring in 15,000, and him being able to blatantly say he attributes some of that success to being on TV and featured in media, because people who only see us on Facebook. Yes. And I really believe that until you're endorsed by someone else, people are only going to take you so seriously. You can play around on Facebook. Facebook groups, I know so many people love them, but I haven't fell in love with them because they overwhelm me. So third-party media really positions you as an expert, elevates you, and puts you in a space to serve people that you might not otherwise serve if you're just on Facebook.
Yeah, I know.
And it gives you that human connection.
Oh,
you know,
sure.
Sometimes you're alone in this, and you know, you talk to people on Skype and stuff, but having that human connection, I think, is huge.
Absolutely. And building those relationships over a long period of time is is incredibly valuable. I think, you've done a great job with Dan. Just I see every day the video ads coming up with his.
Oh, yeah.
So Dan's been a guest on the show just a couple of weeks ago. So some great stuff. And every day I'm seeing that credibility stuff going out there. It's a really, really powerful initiative. And I think, the perception, traditional media like TV, I think has still got that heightened perception. You've got people like Gary Vaynerchuk who are just dominating social media, but then that traditional media piece where you're featured in major press or on television, it has that kudos, even though it's relatively old school compared to some of the new technologies. It has that level of kudos and it has that exclusivity. So let's talk a bit about PR then. So for people who are just starting the business or they've never indulged in PR, what does PR mean at a basic essence? What's the basic essence of PR?
Yeah, it's relying on a third party media to position you as an expert and endorse you. Now, in this day and age, I would say it includes local TV, local radio, getting a local speaking engagement, nationally speaking, being in Business Insider or Forbes or U.S. News and World Report. And even also, if you have an amazing fitness product or if you just launched a book, it's finding those influential people who are already out there, who are on social media to say, I believe in this person.
Yes.
So it's really latching your brand and testimony onto someone else who's honestly the direct connection to your readers or community.
Yes.
So if you're trying to influence business readers and CEOs in your company, then going directly to the source versus posting on Facebook. If your niche is people in their 20s and 30s who are trying to build an online business, well, podcasts and higher level business readings are more in alignment with your readers. But you have to start somewhere. That's why if you live in a small town, you should utilize and prosper where you sow. Become the expert in your hometown and become the go-to person. So then you can start scaling up to the bigger media, because it's hard to go from zero to Forbes and Business Insider without doing any of that preliminary media as well.
Mm. So where does someone start then? So someone wants to get featured in a major publication, because you and I know that all the top entrepreneurs in this lifestyle entrepreneur space or this expertise space where people are reliant on their their skill set, their knowledge, their passions, their expertise, all the top guys and girls, you go on their website, you'll see featured in XYZ, worked with all these people. How does someone get started? They've just started, and how soon should someone get started? When should someone start their PR journey? And how does someone then begin that PR journey?
So I think at first, before you start, you need to have a clear understanding of the value you provide to others and what makes you an expert and key things that happen in your life to get you where you are. Now, I'm talking like every key monumental thing that happened. You were a college dropout. You were adopted. You worked for IBM. You traveled the world. You were a military brat. Like, you need to dissect your life and look at everything that you've done along the way to make you who you are.
Yes.
And then you need to figure out, what you're an expert at and what value you have to share. Mm. When I talk to business owners, it's hard to get them PR if they are only focused on their business and the numbers, if that makes sense.
Yes.
I mean, they have to have a story. They have to provide value. If I'm getting coffee with you, you have to give me tools or knowledge that's going to better my life.
Right.
And if someone can answer that, then it's easy to get on TV. It's easy to get on radio. And where do you start? You first have to figure out your story, but then you really have to have a pulse of what's going on nationally in the world. Mm. For example, knowing there's something with the stock market today. I think it went up. I don't know. I was in the gym and it said something about stock. I'm like, oh, but if you are into real estate and you're into investments and the national news was talking about investments, that would be an appropriate time for you to position yourself as an expert to go on locally to talk about that. Mm. there are a million entrepreneurship months.
Yes.
July 22nd was National Handmade Day. So we focused on like the lifestyle approach of being an entrepreneur and what that entails. But you really need to figure out your story and then figure out what's going on in the world of news, whether it's a hot topic, whether it's the spring, or whether it's January and everyone's buying new houses, or whether it's Awareness Day. Like those are key things you need to have a pulse on. And I would also say too, you need to always be watching industry news. So what I'll often do, and I don't have Google Alert set up, and I used to, I should for efficient purposes, but like I will Google search different topics in regards to my industry and my client's industry to ensure that I know articles that are coming out about a certain topic. Because if a Forbes editor just wrote about a certain topic, I'll read it and look for ways that my client could provide additional information to their story.
Yes. Would you then look for, say, like a contrarian, like an opposing viewpoint to what they put out, or would you look for something that supports what they previously said?
I would do both. I mean, I would look for different angles. If the Forbes editor wrote an article about investments and how millennials are getting away from putting money away for their retirement, I would like find a different angle. I would offer him an additional expert. It would be as easy as say, hey, Brian, I read your article in Forbes, give him a compliment about the article, and then say, I wanted to make sure that I connected you with another expert, and then give their bio, and then say, let me know if I can help you with anything.
Awesome.
You need to realize editors and producers, they're on a fast deadline, and they have a surplus of stories they need to put out to the world.
Yeah.
So if you ever can help them and provide value to them, you're going to be a huge relief to them.
Are there any kind of components of a successful story? Are there certain traits that make something more newsworthy than something else? Does having a powerful headline to an article you submit, or a controversial subject matter, what are kind of some of the keys to being selected? I guess you could submit a whole bunch of things to different people. What typically gets the best response?
So first of all, best response is if you already have a connection with a media person, they're going to respond to you because they know you. So first and foremost, focus on prospering that relationship. But beyond that, key things I would say is have an important title, send them an email, make it relevant to them, but it has to be timely in that it's connected to a certain date, or maybe you just came out with a case study, or maybe you're launching your mastermind in September. There needs to be dates connected to it. Got
it. Yeah, I've missed the boat on a couple of things this year. I did a big feature on Muhammad Ali on the podcast when he passed away.
Nice.
It's been one of the most. A lot of people have said a lot of good things about the episode, and if I had converted that into an article at the time, I think I probably could have got that out in the media. I may have missed that window now, but that's in preparation for this episode, I was thinking, how could I use the podcast? And I'll ask that question in a minute. How could you use podcast content for media sources? Because if I had just changed that into a written article, because I had all the show notes, I did extensive research for that show into his background, into what made him so successful. And I could have put together a killer article based upon that information. And I can still try, I could submit, or maybe next year at the anniversary.
Next year, do it in the anniversary for sure.
Yeah. So here's the question: so how is someone like myself or other podcasters, how would they use their podcast interviews? How can they leverage the material that they're creating with their guests to then further, I guess, give it more legs? How can you scale the kind of stuff you're doing on a podcast, for example?
So if you're emailing a local producer, I would, in addition to sending a little written content, I would definitely send them a video. Anything visual, any content or graphics and photos help to visually give the story. You could use credibility of guests that you had on your show. You could document how many viewers you have. So you could say, after you pitch them, you could basically say, and, in partnership, if I'm able to be a part of this interview or on your show, I am in return going to promote it to my 1,000 followers and so forth. So quantify yourself and the value you have to share with them, that for having you on, you will promote the opportunity with them as well.
Okay. And always adding value. That's a key. So how about, when you're producing like a media pack, what's the protocol these days? Do we drown people in information? Do we give them just a snippet to get their interest? What's the advice in terms of creating a media pack to share with people?
So like what you would normally email a producer?
Yeah. So say just take an example. Say I want to be featured in Forbes. What kind of information would they be expecting to receive from me if I went direct, for example?
Your bio, your story, if you're talking about your finances, key topics that you can talk about, and you really should have already done the research on the types of articles that person has written. Oftentimes too, I would come up with story ideas that you could help them write. Right.
Okay. And in terms of national press, there's always some kind of major events going on, political campaigns or some major sporting events, but we always have those kind of lulls where you just get silly stories ending up on the news because you almost feel like they've run out of news. Would that be a good time? Would that be a good time to say, hey, I've got a story?
Yeah. And keeping the relationship going, a lot of times it'll be on their list when they're like, we need content. So just getting that conversation going and the relationship going, you're going to be in a good spot for them to call on you.
And I guess for someone looking to get major coverage, it would always look favorable if they did have someone like yourself representing them rather than going direct. I guess that sends a message in itself.
It does, but then also you, instead of spending 3 months to try to get results, you're working with someone like me that already has those authentic relationships and can work with the editor. I'm really thankful, and that one of my clients got interviewed by Business Insider this week, and I pitched a couple of my other clients, and she said yes to the story, wanted to know more, wanted some stats and facts about finances, but got a response to the details of that person, not right now.
Right.
I was able to go back to my client, tell them that, but I'm so confident in the relationship that I'm going to be able to understand why it's not right now.
Yes.
Instead of doing it on your own and emailing and never hearing back.
Absolutely.
So. Absolutely.
And, the person with the relationships, the expertise, the inside knowledge is always going to get further ahead. And, for many entrepreneurs, like, I discussed at the beginning of the show is, you've got to focus on the things that you're the strongest at. And if that's not self-promotion, then you need someone on your side to get in your corner and leverage those relationships they have to make a real impact. So what are the most important sources of PR this year, 2016? Where's the major buzz? Where should be people looking? In terms of what formats, what kind of media should they be looking at?
See, and I'm not even on Snapchat, but we're looking at like non-traditional. You need to view Snapchat as a form of media. And, you need to be looking at everything, when you use Snapchat, form those like influential relationships. If you have a product, get people to share it on Snapchat, get people to share it on Instagram. If you don't have any video footage of you need to get some video footage of you. You need to get some TV segments.
Yeah. And how important is quality imagery when sourcing new opportunities?
Oh, it's very important. High resolution photos. I don't really believe that you need to have a website. If we're talking local media, local media doesn't look at your website. Within reason. Media gets so many emails and pitches that they're going to look at the email and the pitch and the value and then decide if they want you on or not.
Yes. Yeah.
National media, probably more so because it provides credibility. But when people say they need a website and they need this and then this and this, I'm like, it's just noise.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you have a story to tell, and you know the value you provide and it's timely and you know what you're doing, I believe that if the TV station has on-air guests and you're local, they're going to have you on.
Awesome.
Period.
Awesome. And how about radio? Is it a similar approach?
Radio is still same approach. The different thing with radio is that TV space, depending on the media company, has morning shows where they have guests on for soft topics. Right. You know, just like they do with Live with Kelly and all those like national shows. I mean, they have time for guests and so forth. It's a little harder to get on radio just because, and a lot of times they'll ask you for ad money, which you should never pay. Right. But if you're going on radio, generally speaking, it has to be event-based. Right. Like you have to have a black and white date of what you're doing, inviting people to a brick and mortar store, whatever. Generally speaking, it has to be event-based.
Okay.
Versus TV is more soft segments, cooking segments. National Suicide or World Prevention Suicide Day is in September. So going on and talking about that and sharing tools, it's more topic based.
Awesome. And what's the real key then? You know, there's obviously a lot of competition for, you know, every form of media out there, whether it's TV, whether it's radio, whether it's newspaper, magazines. What's the real key to standing out and getting ahead of the competition?
Forming real relationships and following up. I mean, it takes lots of follow-up to get to a yes. Okay. And then once you have those relationships, you can keep working with them and providing a lot of content. But it's writing an amazing pitch, knowing they're going to say yes when the time is right, being tenacious and follow up, and it'll happen.
Follow-up. Let's talk about follow-up. So I asked one of my guests recently, we were talking about an email marketing campaign for a follow-up. Yeah. And I asked her, how many emails is too many emails? And we had a good joke about it because, you know, some people will just send endless emails and it's like a barrage. But her point was, even if you are that person sending a barrage of emails and it's always adding value, there's never too many emails. What's the rule of thumb for media? You know, when do you become someone who's hounding someone, and when what's an appropriate level of follow-up without disrupting the relationship?
I normally pitch them and then follow up a week later, and then call them the following day, and then like follow up every week. I mean, the hardest part is when you don't get a hard yes or a hard no. Are they responding because they're not interested and they're not taking the time to tell you, or are they sincerely busy, or did they not get your email?
That's a good point.
You just have to, and then what's their personality too?
Right.
Or phone calls or emails.
Sure.
So
that's again shows the importance of relations. When you know that, you know how to play to someone's, you know, what they're looking for in terms of access. You know, I had a conversation today with someone in terms of business prospecting. I used to work in a commercial banking environment, and there was a prospect. I called his office at the beginning once a week for the first couple of months, and then monthly. And then I finally got to, after 11 months of calling the same company, the same guy, he finally picked up the phone and said, Dan, I've been wanting to speak to you. It hasn't been the right time, and now's the right time. I want to see you next week if you're available next week. Good. So at the time I was thinking, am I hounding this guy? Am I peeing off his secretary? Is this really a bad idea for me to do this? But it was my first lesson in persistence and tenacity, because I got the meeting, I got the guy. But you know, I had to play it by ear. I wasn't getting any like direct "do not call this number again" type things. But I guess you have to play it by ear in terms of the response you get. Yeah. Cool. So in terms of someone who's built a really, really major brand on social media, what would be the first? It's saying someone's got to say they've built a brand of 100,000 followers and they're really crushing it on social. Where would be the first kind of media outlet you would say would be worth someone at that level exploring? I would say local TV. Yeah. Okay. And what's the kind of how would you, once you've been featured on that TV show, do you get access to the materials? Can you use it in your own promotional?
It depends. Some TV stations put it on their website, but it's only online for a certain amount of time.
Right.
So I encourage everyone to buy that clip from a third-party clipping service. And then once you have rights to that, you have it forever.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And is there a key to kind of securing those rights? Is that something you can negotiate as part of the package?
I think, and I could be wrong, but I think once you buy it, it's yours forever.
Awesome.
I could be wrong. I honestly don't know, but I've had clients who use their video segments however they want, and they've never gotten in trouble.
Awesome. Awesome. And your business right now, who do you primarily work with? Or who's your kind of ideal client?
Multiple 6-figure, 7-figure earners, and health and fitness companies, like major health and fitness companies.
That's based on your passion and your expertise in the industry?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. And so if someone wanted to work with you, what's the process look like?
Yeah, gosh, like they're super cheap. I work with all my clients for 3 months at a time.
Yeah.
And by the end of the first month, my clients get a 3-to-1 in advertising equivalents according to Nielsen data, and it's just $1,500 a month. And then I have other programs where I teach you how to do PR, or I also have other programs where I put you like on my list of people that I pitch for the month instead of doing one-on-one.
Awesome.
So.
And do people get, in terms of the industry, I don't know much about the PR industry, but if you work with a PR rep, would you expect, is there a certain standard of, say, for example, I worked with yourself, would there be a certain minimum expectation of how many features you would get for your money, or how does that work in terms of contractual stuff?
So that is in accordance, like all my clients get a 3-to-1 ROI in terms of advertising equivalents.
Yes.
I would say most of my clients get 2 segments a week, or media opportunities a week. So about 8 opportunities a month. It depends what we're focusing on. If we're focusing on national media, I'm going to be able to tell you exactly who we've pitched and how many people we've pitched and how many pitches we've pitched. But we're only going to be in the starting process of the Steve Harvey Show and Business Insider and things of that nature. And that's just how it is. You can't expect to pitch a national media and be featured tomorrow. Got
it. Now, from some of the clients you've worked with, what are some of the examples you could give that have, where someone's actually really, it's all very well getting featured on something, but have you got examples where someone's really grabbed the bull by the horns and they've taken the materials that they've created, these external assets, I guess you could call them, from third-party media sources, and really utilize them really effectively in their business? Because I see people on their, they've got the endorsements on their website, but it's kind of like it's done once and it's gone. It's just they've just done it to get the logo. Do you have any examples where people have really, really gone to town and used PR and media very effectively in terms of the follow-up?
Yeah, I have a couple. I would say Dan Henry, who is a Facebook ads expert. He actually is running ads with his TV segment. He's using his TV segments to target high influential media. He's sending it to his email list. I had another client that got an ESPN San Diego, and she used that footage for her email list, which further helped her with the launch of her programs. I had another client who, it was perfect timing. She's a women's strategist, and she's also a taxes expert to help entrepreneurs. And her name's Snow Saxman. And she did a segment. It was a week. I knew this, and people forget, but I knew taxes were going to be due in a week. So I jumped on that. She did a lot of TV segments. She did a TV segment on a Sunday. It's a gift in that it was recorded, but it ended up airing like 20 times in that Sunday, which ended up being like 39 minutes of airtime around there. But she ended up getting 2 clients just from that TV segment because it was timely, and she came from a place of value and literally soup to nuts. Like, what do you do if you haven't filed your taxes? She gave all the information away. Wow.
Awesome. So what's the future look like for your business? What's your vision?
Well, I am going to be I want to build a PR firm. I don't want a brick and mortar place, but I love getting clients media. I love getting clients results. So probably hiring on another girl or two for the team. I don't want to ever have to say no to clients that I feel like is a good fit. Also, really looking to do PR for charities that don't have a marketing person that need help with that, and helping with entrepreneurs who have masterminds and want to promote it, want to get media there, and then want photos of the event because I love photography. So I think I'm going to start doing that too.
Awesome. And is there a certain kind of target market that you're going after in terms of your next wave of growth for your business?
I am focusing on creating a webinar with Dan where I'm going to give a crap ton of free PR knowledge away to people.
Amazing. And I know you've worked with Dan, but your brand, The Boss Babe, do you typically work with women normally, or are you expanding out now? How's that looking?
I will if we're a good fit, we're a good fit. But I'm a very exclamation point emoji type person, feeler, excited certainty. Yeah. So it just has to be someone of
somebody gets that vibe
too.
Awesome. And what's your, you said at the beginning, you've got a real interest in kind of nonprofit work. What kind of causes do you follow and support?
Yeah. Cancer. When I was in college, I ran a program for at-risk teen girls. So girls. And then 4 years ago, I started a young professional group called Junior Committee, and we raise awareness about Alzheimer's disease. So honestly, any health-based charity is because I love health. And for the longest time, I thought I wanted to do public policy. So any charity that is health-focused.
Awesome. Yeah, public policy is interesting. You probably everyone's heard about the situation in the UK, the political environment. There was 2 days after the EU referendum where I decided that I was potentially going to start my own political party and run for Prime Minister. I got so furious about the situation, the way the country was kind of divided. I was like, right, I can handle this. But I decided it's better off to influence from the outside. But for 2 days, my government thought I was crazy. I'd written out my party manifesto. So it's important to have that, that strong opinion about the causes you follow, I think.
Yeah.
So let's talk. We're going to approach the final round now. I've got 3 killer questions for you to finish the show. The first question I've got for you is, what does it mean to you to be unstoppable? What's your definition of unstoppable?
Unstoppable is to just go balls to the wall and just go, but always have that sense of love and excitement and going in a positive direction. Nice.
And a lot of times on the show we talk about some of the inner game, the mindset of a successful entrepreneur. Has there been times linked to that definition where you've held yourself back and you've had to push through to overcome any fears or limiting beliefs or money mindset? Has there been any key lessons that you've learned on the way in terms of your growth as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I was in a relationship for 3 years and I still love the guy and I'm in love with him, but he broke up with me 5 weeks ago. And I think I'm starting to realize, the future's unknown, but I'm starting to realize that the vision I see for my life isn't in alignment with his vision. And that I need to become a caliber person to attract the caliber person I'm supposed to date. Yeah. To have that partnership, to be unstoppable, to just be ruthless.
Awesome, I love it. I could go on a whole. I've had similar experiences in that world. I could go on a massive tangent.
Right.
We'll take that one offline. We'll have an. But people will probably say now, let's have a conversation on relationships. So the next episode will probably be about relationships. So the next question is, what is the most game-changing piece of advice, or what's the most important piece of advice that you would give your younger self? If you could go back 5 years ago, what advice would you give to the younger you?
To probably not be so quick to make decisions and to meditate on it more and pray on it more, and to really do what you want to do but seek guidance along the way.
Cool.
You know?
I like it. And then the final question is, what is the most impactful book, business book or personal development book you've ever read?
Gosh, I'm such a reader. Probably The Secret, Think and Grow Rich.
And what are those books? What stands out about those books for you?
The concept of manifestation,
yes.
and also the importance of every day reviewing your why and your goals and just feeling them in your bones. And, you know, also too, I'm so like, I always want instant gratification. I want results. So focusing on doing the things you need to do every day, even when you don't get results, to ensure that you're going to have a harvest tomorrow type thing.
Awesome. I have one bonus question, actually. I remember writing down on my notes. I wrote down NFL ? There was a story about you smoking a cigar with an important guy from the NFL. Is that right?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm really thankful with my life and the opportunities that I had. But I smoked a cigar with Mike Ditka, who is the Bears football coach. And I was really blessed in that also there was 2 years ago, during football season, there was a Geico commercial with a football player who did a cold cuts commercial. And his name was Icky Woods. And I was blessed in that I was able to help handle all his media, go to Radio Row, like make every major sports station interview him. And yeah, so it was cool. It was really cool.
How did that come about?
So how it came about is there was a national charity that was one of our clients that was started by Mike Ditka that fundraised money for former NFL players
yes.
Who didn't have health insurance, who had horrible injuries, kind of the greats of our time that really need to be supported.
Wow, awesome. And do you still smoke cigars?
No.
Wouldn't really fit the house.
I'm a wine drinker, but when in Rome, like if I'm in Italy or if I'm in France or whatever, you know, I would.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I spent some time in Cuba and you can't really avoid it there.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Heather, thank you so much for unleashing your greatness and sharing your wisdom on the show today. There's absolutely valuable nuggets. I'm excited to I'm going to go and speak to my local TV station on myself.
Yeah.
It's cool. I want to be on TV now. This is my goal. I said it here. You inspired me, and I hope you've inspired a lot of others on the show as well. So the final piece is for everyone listening to the show or watching on Facebook, how should someone get in touch with you? How can they instigate a conversation with you if they want to explore PR opportunities with you? And are you working globally at the moment? Where are you operating? And perhaps you could share some of the contact details to get in touch with you.
Yeah. So if you're the right fit and you have a mission and story to tell, like I'm not bounded to where you live, you can find me on my website at Boss, so BOSS, Babe, so bossbabepr.com. And you also can find me on Facebook if you need any help, whatever, if you want me to write, look at your pitch, whatever, just get on the phone for some coffee to see if it's a good fit. I'll absolutely do it. But you can find me on Facebook too, and it's just Heather, HEATHER, and then DeSantis, DESANTIS. But I'm very approachable. I'll help with whatever. So just let me know.
Awesome. Great show. Thank you very much, Heather.
Thank you.
So, folks, are you ready to get yourself some media coverage? I certainly am. I'm setting the goal to get on local TV and radio by the end of the month. Who is up for the challenge? Let's do this. Be sure to connect with Heather for even more great tips on how to get started. And do let me know how you get on. And if you've already got experience with getting some great media coverage, whether it's in Huffington Post, Business Insider, and all these other major publications, or local TV, national TV, radio, do come and share your story. I would love to hear how you did it. So come over to danjgregory.com/55, join in on the show notes, go to the comment section and let me know how you got on. Now, before we wrap up, please remember to download my top 50 lessons from the first 50 episodes of the Unstoppable podcast by visiting danjgregory.com/50 lessons. That's 50 lessons. You'll get a PDF with one key lesson from each show. So print it out and use it on your journey to becoming unstoppable in business and life. We are done for today. I'll be back on Monday with another high impact, high energy episode for you, the solo round of just myself. And until then, go out there, unleash your greatness, build your empire, make your impact, and live your ultimate life. You are unstoppable.